second time today, where he pairs up with Ma Long, the defending champion here in the singles here, up against Sathiyan, GNANASEKARAN, as well as Sharath, Kamal, ACHANTA of India here in this round 2 men's doubles encounter. But the crowd, no doubt, will throw their weight behind Timo Boll and Ma Long. It's up to the Indian pair in here to go ahead and upset the apple cart. Throw their name into the hat, perhaps, to get their names written in the headlines tomorrow. It is a tough ask and an uphill mountain to climb, but they have to believe they could do so. So once again, it is myself, Errol Creary, in the commentary area, alongside none other than Gavin Rumgay, fresh from table number 1 earlier on today, where he faced the very man about to face up on the table here, Timo Boll. Good to have you here, Gavin. How did it go earlier on today?
Yeah, I mean, a super experience to play against Timo Boll, who obviously now is the German number 2, but has been a former world number 1. I've learned a lot from today about the placement of the ball, not hitting the ball so hard, playing into certain areas of the table. Learned a lot.
Oh, I'm really glad and happy that you made it into the main draw as well. Timo Boll is a formidable opponent for anybody, and of course he will testify to that earlier on today, but no disgrace, he's a fantastic player. And with regards to his activity as a singles player compared to a doubles player, where he's world ranked 17, just talk us through the dynamics, but the difference between the singles activity and the doubles player.
It's very important in the doubles that as a partnership you complement each other. Boll very good round the net, Ma Long strong, powerful, dynamic. He can finish the rallies. So you'll be looking here against the Indian pair that Boll is extremely good with the deft touches round the net, which will then allow Ma Long to come in and hopefully finish the point.
Well, ACHANTA of India, 34 years of age now, lives here in Düsseldorf. He's been a real foot soldier of the ITTF in recent years. Someone else that you know very well, of course, Gavin, having played him before in your career.
With India being in the Commonwealth, we've come across the Indian pairings quite a few times, Scotland and India, and he's been the standout player for the Indian team for a decade now. Very smooth, very talented, and has trained hard since he's moved to Germany 4 or 5 years ago.
So 34 years of age, a world ranking of 54. Been around for a while now. 34 years of age, as mentioned, lives here in Düsseldorf. Quarter-finalist at the 2017 India Open earlier on this year. That's his best result so far year to date. It's a difficult match for the Indians to open up with, but with his partner here, it'll be interesting to see if they can get off to a good start here in this first game, Gavin, just to build confidence.
That's it. When you're playing players as strong as Boll and Ma Long, it's all about the scoreboard pressure, staying with them, trying to win and steal that first set, make them feel a little bit uncomfortable about their game. Obviously, Ma Long and Timo Boll, they don't play doubles so often together, hence, you know, their poorer world ranking at the moment. They're probably in the top 4, realistically.
But the story ended here in round 2 when they were partners a couple of years ago, crashed out in the second round in Shizhou. So, well, they're looking to go a bit better here on home soil, especially with regard to Timo Boll in Germany. The dynamics there of the two coaches as well. Will they work together in tandem, or is it a singular coach with each player, Ma Long and his coach, or Timo Boll and his coach, or do they join in unison together with regard to the tactics today?
Yeah, obviously it's tough with the language barrier between trying to speak a little bit of English and Chinese, but generally the language of table tennis, you know, it's not really a problem at this level.
So going into this match here, the Indians, they've got absolutely nothing to lose here, Gavin. Their tactics, will it be high octane, high risk, get themselves very, very close to the table, take the ball early, or will it be a conservative start, try and keep the unforced errors count down, and see how it goes in that opening game, perhaps?
Well, GNANASEKARAN, he likes to stay closer to the table. Kamal is quite good from 3 or 4 yards off, so again, they can complement each other really well, but let's see if they can do that to a top 4 or 5 in the world level.
far off painting the table there from ACHANTA. 1-on-4 still already.
Lovely touch round the net straight away, trying to nip the ball as soon as it lands, half volleying. And with the rubbers and the equipment that they use nowadays, the Chinese players, a lot of the time the Chinese rubber is a lot more tacky than the European style of rubber, so that's very important for doubles. Extra backspin around the net. There's been a little bit of a problem this week with the condensation on the ball. It does get quite warm in here. Thousands in the crowd.
Something we'll be talking about just off air as well, Gavin. The Indians would have played on the tables outside as well. The difference between those tables and the table here in the main arena as well, are they vast?
The tables in here in the main hall are definitely faster, and the ball is drifting long as well. You'll find that for Timo ball especially, that's good because the ball sliding a little bit more, whereas in Hall B there seems to be a lot more friction on the tables and the ball sort of holding up. So, yeah, that's a huge change, and it's difficult for the timing of the ball, obviously, at this level.
Great rhythm to that rally. Fantastic rhythm, in fact. Germany's national team coach, of course. He'll be here pretty much all week, I presume. Oh, it's fantastic. That sudden injection of pace there from Timo Boll.
Such a great long push there. From the same action, he can touch short or go long. It's that deception there that catches players. And that's what we're talking about there. Normally that ball in the second hall would have stayed short. That ball there just managed to somehow drift a little bit long, enabling the Indian pair to get in first.
What a backhand that was. Beautifully struck. Well, they're doing well here, the Indian pair, and just down to a solitary point now, the deficit, but look at that. Beautiful technique.
That's the players complementing each other there. It's one good long push out. They already know in advance with the signals underneath the table that that's what's going to happen, so you can play in advance and predict what's going to happen.
Well, that is Marlon in a nutshell. Often have we seen that over the years. I'll give him way too much time there just to load his legs and pull the trigger with that. Of course, he very seldom makes a mistake in that situation. Well, commentator's curse, perhaps. Tight first game, this. And just down to 1 point again.
Side and topspin pendulum serve, just a little change up at the end of the set. All players really have been serving little float serves, little no-spin serves, and then suddenly there, when it gets to the business end of the set, a big change.
Oh, well done, Timo Boll again. At the first attempt, Ma Long and Timo Boll have wrapped up proceedings here in this opening game. It was tense, it was tight, just 3 points in it, but Long and Boll have the first game on the board in their favour. Well, he's mentioned it before, Timo Boll, that he's already adjusted to the new ball. He was irresistible en route to winning the title last month at Icheon with that new ball. In singles, he defeated his fellow German Patrick Franziska in 4 straight sets to win the title for the first time. Your take on the new ball here in the World Championships in Düsseldorf?
So we've got the new ball, but we've also got, you know, there's different brandings of ball at the moment as well, and this Nataku ball they're using this week is different to what they use on the World Tour week in, week out. There's certainly less spin on this ball, but it's a very hard ball, which means that it's traveling through the air quite quickly. So for someone like Timo Boll, he looks for a lot of spin. That's not to his advantage, but he's able to hit the ball a little bit harder, which then means he can match some of the Asian players in the power rallies.
Well, it's been a big topic of debate in the last few months or so as to whether we will lose some of table tennis's diversity by increasing the power and taking away some of the spin. But right here, right now, it is Boll and Long who are a game to the good. Second game about to begin, the Indians to serve first. Many players have mentioned as well, Gavin, that the new ball feels slightly more chalky. Doesn't have as much grip on the rubber. Do you concur with that as well?
Definitely. Yeah, the ball just doesn't, it's just not got as much friction as it used to have. And for me, the biggest problem with the new ball is it's harder to shape the ball, to hook the ball and fade the ball, which then brings in longer rallies. It's difficult to get the ball into the side barriers, which then means, of course, far longer length of rallies.
So picked off fairly truly from where they left at the conclusion of the first game here, Bollamar. First game on the board here for the Indian pairing. Very, very aggressive, well played. Disparity with regards to height and build here in the Indian pairing as well. Very tall player is ACHANTA as well.
When you watch Kamal in the practice hall, he's one of the really gifted, talented players on the Pro Tour circuit. He plays with that incredible arc over the net, a little bit like in tennis with Nadal playing that huge spin on the ball. And it's, you know, there's not so many players in the game doing that now, that especially the European players as well. You see the ball just drifting there. That was normally that would be a dead short serve. Sometimes with the heavier ball too, you find that when the ball hits the net, it does drop over. I've been finding that there are a few more shots that hit the net now and drop on the other side. The ball being a little bit heavier, a little bit bigger.
They're doing well here in these rallies, the Indian pair. They're applying pressure, they're positive. Not looking to play with a handbrake on at all. Really going for their shots, getting results. It's a tight start once again at 5 points apiece.
And like we talked about before, Errol, it's that when they can link shots together, the Indian pairing, where Kamal is just a metre away from the table and GNANASEKARAN is close. That's when they're at their best.
Oh, what defence that was. Brilliant play. Right down the middle, through the eye of a needle. It's a good reaction here by the Indians after dropping the first game. Behind here, 3-love in this second game. With the ascendancy now and the momentum here, well, it's certainly theirs. A few unforced errors here in this game from Timo BOLL. Not quite as neat and tidy as he was in the first.
You'd expect Ma Long to make that backhand 99 and 100. This is where it gets interesting, though. Against the top guys, can you convert when you have the chance? Amazing how many of these sets can suddenly be at 10-all from nothing.
Well, they look tight on the last point, not so there. Yeah, well, the second game is theirs to lose. 4 game points, doing a very healthy situation. A big chance here to turn this match around at 1 game each. This kind of situation, do you just refrain from having a sneaky peek to the scoreboard and just play the point almost as if it's your last, all those game points in hand?
You're just looking at this moment when, of course, there was 4 set points. Get your forehand in as much as you can, really.
Well, he almost skimmed the back end of the table there, Ma Long. He didn't. It is now 1 game each, so an excellent turnaround here by the Indian pair. Much better display from finding himself 0-3 down. And every reason to believe they can take that good form into game number 3. So what a turnaround that was indeed, Gavin. You have to tip your hat to the Indian pair. They did exactly what we wanted them to do. They were positive and aggressive. Got their range, picked their spots as well.
And Kamal has the weapons at this level. He's able to compete with guys in the top 20 in the world in singles too. He has the lovely fluidity in the shots. And if BOLL and Ma Long are not careful in playing to the right areas, he can be, you know, very, very strong.
The first thing goes also for Ma Long and Timo BOLL. They just need to clean up the unforced error count, perhaps, going into game 3. Both players there just slightly on the guilty side of that, and we'll perhaps see on the next graphic when it does come up for us here. But glad to see that many of the supporters have stuck around to witness Timo BOLL and Ma Long here this evening. Some 8,000 supporters can squeeze into this arena when fully housed. Not quite there yet, but they're enjoying a wonderful game here. Men's doubles here in the evening session. 1 game each, still all to play for. Just looking to go inside out there. That's a good tactic, and every tactic so far has worked well. Real flow from his racket right now. What defence that was again, Gavin. Goodness me, incredible.
And GNANASEKARAN at his best when he's just taking the ball right off the bounce. That's when you can create a huge amount of control, and you don't need to hit the ball that hard.
Well, maybe he is human after all. That's his first unforced error for quite a while now.
There it is again, waiting for the ball to just creep half long and spinning up, and it's that wonderful arc on the ball. When there's the arc and then it makes contact with the table, you don't know if it's going to stay low or jump up, and you've got that fraction of a second to make a decision.
An interesting dynamic for Ma Long when he plays doubles, Gavin, because as a singles player, very seldom does he trail by 2 or 3 points. Listen to see and hear what that does to his mindset when he finds himself in this kind of situation as a doubles player. And of course, that we all know, guys, by the nickname of the Dragon, just looking to breathe some fire here into this third game.
You can see it. There's not much flow to the game, and that is doubles. It's stopping the opponents getting 2 or 3 smooth shots in a row, breaking the rhythm, changing the pace.
But it's that kind of match, really, that the Indians are searching for, really, isn't it? Just to disrupt the rhythm of Ma Long and Ball. There's the advantage of being the lefty. Great reach there from the German.
It's tough to keep taking on these backhand reloops from that close, and especially with Ma Long spinning that ball really heavy. Sometimes we just need to do what GNANASEKARAN was doing and just hold nice and early. That's enough. High risk. It paid off in the second set, though.
Again, beautifully struck forehand. Good movement there with his legs, his feet, as per usual, to get onto that.
This has really been Timo Boll's set up till now.
Well, it's been the best display so far from him in this, the third game by Ball. He's been very consistent. He has eradicated the unforced errors. He's looking every inch the Timo Boll that we know. You have to do against the high-ranked players, really. Stay ahead, stay close to them in a game. Try and build the confidence up. And 3-love here, they're in big danger here of going 2-1 down, the Indian pair in. He seems to have lost his timing here in this game, Cameron.
It's tough when you're not in first and you're having to react and not dictate.
It has been. Ma Long and Timo Boll have dictated the flow of traffic here in game number 3. Back on track and back ahead here for Ma Long and Timo Boll. 11-5 there in game 3. They're looking a lot more accomplished here, and you have to give them credit as well. They say form is temporary, class is permanent.
Very true. And it's tough, you know, the guys at this level, Ball, Ma Long, okay, you can win 1 set, you can win 2, but it gets to the real nitty-gritty part of the, especially in the singles, best of 7, trying to win 4 sets against guys top 10 in the world. Very tough physically, very tough mentally. Can you hold yourself together? Do you believe that your game is strong enough when it gets to 9-all? All of this, and that's what makes table tennis fantastic sport for everyone here and everyone at home watching.
Well, plenty of you perhaps watching on the ITTF TV website. So again, I mentioned, just to join in the conversation here, hashtag ITTF World 2017. Plenty of interviews and match figures to you enjoy. And here we have the game summary as well. Unforced errors, 8-3. That's the most interesting read in there, perhaps.
And I think out of those 8 unforced errors, it was Kamal that made 6 or 7 of those, going for shots that weren't really there. They're there in singles when you have a little bit of flow from your own racket, but not when you're trying to react.
Well, they do need to react here, indeed, ACHANTA and GNANASEKARAN. 1-2 down in game, serving first here in game 4. Fantastic effort. Crowd showing appreciation there as well, and rightly so. Best rally of the match by a country mile. And that's exactly what he's all about, Ma Long. Just exploding into life. Well, touch of deja vu here for Ma Long and Timo Boll. 3-0 up in game number 2.
Unusual for Boll to lose his touch there. He just took the ball a little bit late. You try and touch the ball short when it's a little bit higher. Very, very tough. When he attacks, it's always into the right area. A lot of the guys 50 to 100 in the world attack the first ball to the wing. Timo Boll straight into the middle.
Well, they're in the ascendancy well and completely now. Got the wind behind their sails, and again they've picked up from the conclusion of the last game and taken that good form here into the next. Gets up and over the ball. So much venom, so much spin on that forehand. Great wrist work.
Wonderful little float serve there from Boll. As soon as he makes contact, he changes the angle of his racket. Little bit of deception.
He's just beginning to run away here from the Indian pairing here in this game. 8-1, solid start here by Long and Boll. They've kept their foot down on the accelerator right from the first serve.
A little bit too much onto the wing there. Again, there's long levers. You see there the spin up perfectly onto the wing, so he can make the reloop.
Well, is the renaissance on here? Just 4 points now, the difference. Enough to keep Long and Timo Boll honest at the other side of the table.
So deceptive there. Long push, but he's only used 1 or 2 centimeters of movement there. Very difficult to read.
So clarity of thought under pressure here from Long and Boll. And again, it's a very simplistic game here for Boll and Long. 11 points to 4 this time. And the scoreboard completely and utterly belongs to them right now. 3-1 the lead. And it is the Indian pairing of GNANASEKARAN and ACHANTA who are looking to find the answers here to the questions at the moment, Gavin.
I think they need to start mixing their serves up a little bit more. Need to start being a little bit more creative in the rallies too. GNANASEKARAN a little bit of success when he played down the lines, but I think ACHANTA, he needs to look to serve a little bit better so that GNANASEKARAN can get in close and early to the table. That's going to be pivotal if they're to try and get something in game 6.
If you have a look at the unforced errors there from Boll and Long, just the one again. Now cast your mind back to game 2 where it was 8 in total, so they've done exactly what we expected of them. They've tidied that up and just beginning to strike more winners now. Their decision making is a lot better, their application is a lot better. So really it's the match now that's theirs to lose. Looking to go one better than they paired up last time in the World Championships, and they're on course to do that at the moment here, looking to progress into the next round. So let's see if they do what you've asked them to do here, Gavin, the Indian pair, whether they can regain their timing as well as their impetus. Nothing to lose.
Again, the easier shot for Boll there would have been to play cross court, but that would have then exposed Ma Long, so it was much better for him to try and play into the middle, the much tougher shot.
But yeah, he's missed that, but exactly, just reiterating what you said there, Gavin, they've got the confidence of the scoreboard now to kind of pull rabbits out of their hats, to speak, with those kind of shots. Even at the angle there, Ma Long still looking to go for the edge of the table.
And you watch these guys in the practice hall, they're making shots like that for fun.
Just seem to be quicker out the blocks at the start of every game here, Long and Boll. Good defence, great defence, good hustle.
And it's important in defence that you keep your racket high, that you can exert a little bit of downwards pressure on the ball. Very difficult in active blocking if your racket's too low.
I haven't seen them go into the body too often today, the Indian pair, and have they been allowed to get themselves into that situation?
Because they're having to react in almost every rally, that they're not winning the short game, and when that happens, you're just reacting to the next block. Same again, they're not winning the short game. You let guys of Boll and Ma Long's class in first. Very, very difficult.
Good use of the table again in that rally.
Clever again. Just holding on that little bit to see where his opponent was going to move, and then gently caress the ball to the other part of the table. That's the class that these top guys have. There's no rushing.
Just another bread and butter forehand there of Long that reaches its destination. Just look how again he gets himself onto that, gets the weight of his body behind it beautifully. So impressive.
The extended action after he makes contact with the serve as well brings in that element of doubt for the opponent receiving the serve. Makes contact and then the little wiggle of the racket. Very tough to see the contact. One of the first times they've won round the net. You get your first shot in before the opponents. So important.
brilliant from Ma Long. That's a winner against many other opponents, not him.
Winning the short game again. Suddenly now the emphasis is on every shot around the net.
Well, he's got his mojo as well as his timing back here, ACHANTA. That bodes well for them.
Unlucky, good play. See if we see a little change of serve now. Huge point in the context of this set.
Well, just when they perhaps thought that they would just nudge ahead by a couple of points, well, Ma Long was having none of it whatsoever. Well, food and drink to him, that kind of situation. So still beautifully balanced on a knife edge this game. 8 points each, just creeping towards the finishing tape now. Oh, no margin for error here for either pairing. Right down the middle there from Long. Brilliant table tennis.
Nothing better than watching that right-left hand combination coming together, flowing. Benefit of that, forehands coming in from all areas of the table.
Ma Long at his very best once again. Great anticipation coming across. And there the forehand just does its work again. So they've had some turbulence in one game at least here, Timo Boll and Ma Long, but that turbulence has been completely and utterly eradicated. So a couple of match points here for Ma Long and Timo Boll. So taking out the first attempt, smoothly into the next round, Ma Long and Timo Boll. And the crowd show appreciation here for Boll and Long. Getting the job done, 3 games to 1. The Indians rallied in the second game, but really deserved winners here, the German and the Chinese pairing, Gavin.
Quite simply, better round the net. And at this level in doubles, that's what it is. It's deft touch round the net. Next player